There's a secret that all successful creative business owners know, and I'm going to let you in on it. It's about taking time to work on your business rather than just in it. I'm a big fan of doing this at executive retreats and seasonal planning sessions, and so is my friend Christy Nelson. Christy is the owner of Makit Takit, a craft studio business in Lincoln, Nebraska, which she's been running since 2016. Her business has expanded to include craft classes and parties, a yearly maker market, business mentoring and retreats, and even an annual craft camp for adults called Makit Together. She attributes a big part of her success to taking the time to plan for all of this through what she calls executive retreats. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hi, Christy. So I've heard that you have kind of a secret formula for how you approach your business, how you've created success in your business, and one of the ways that you suggest other business owners kind of make space for their big ideas. Is that right?
This was something that I didn't invent. I didn't come up with out of thin air, but it has been the best thing that I have ever done for my business. And I call them executive retreats, which was kind of tongue in cheek when I first started because it felt so silly calling myself an executive when I own this little craft studio. But now I'm a mogul.
Well, that's true though. You have a craft studio, a very successful. You've been doing it like 8 years. You have an annual event there, right? Make It Together, and then you also do business mentoring. I've seen you speak at Craftcation. That's how we know each other, is speaking at conferences. You are a mogul.
Okay, I'm becoming a mogul. And you know why? It's because I did these executive retreats. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Basically, at my studio, I get interrupted a lot. I know a lot of business owners can relate. I'm constantly barraged with like phone calls, questions if I'm at my studio. There's really no time for me to have like an hour of quiet time. It got to the point where there were so many things that I needed to do that needed like real focus time. And I was like, I just got to get out of here. My home wasn't a place where I could go because I still had children living at home. I still had clothes that needed to be folded and clutter all around me. And that wasn't a space for me to really, have the time to think and get clarity. What I did is I found an Airbnb here in my town. I booked it. It was like super cheap. It was like just someone's basement. I think I booked it for 2 nights. So I knew I had like one full day and then like an afternoon and a morning to get stuff done. And so what I did is I just made a plan for myself that has evolved over time. Now that I've done this, I usually do one where I go away every quarter, but I do at least a 4 hour, I call them my 4 hour focus sessions. Now I do them with other people too, but I do at least a 4 hour focus session once a month. The things have evolved, but the concept is I go away, I have a plan of things that I need to work on. I set my schedule such that I have time to focus, I have time to create, I have time to sit, I have time to go take a walk, I have time to focus again. And so that's really the concept, is that you need to get away. And I know not everybody can take 2 days to go to an Airbnb, especially at the beginning of a business when you're like really in the thick of it. I just try and teach people how, even with just 4 hours of time, you can really make a big difference in your business by taking that time to strategize and work on goals. And not even that, just like get the work done that you need the time to like get into the groove. There's so many tasks like that.
There's so many things that you just said that are so crucial, right? It's like taking the time away to work on the business and like the big picture stuff instead of just being in the weeds of all the day-to-day tasks. So important, whether you're doing it, like actually being able to get away in a separate space. And even like you said, if it's those 4 hours a day, sometimes even if it's going to a local coffee shop or the library or a place like that, of just changing the physical location from where your day-to-day work happens to not only create that kind of peace and quiet, like you were saying, you don't have all that noise, but it also just helps with creativity, right? Like I've heard writers who will go and do something similar where they'll book a hotel room for a couple of days to just knock out, a few chapters of their book because it creates that space. It puts you in a different environment. This is the whole reason why artist residencies exist, right? It's so that you can go to another location and just create things away from your normal day to day.
It's so important. And I think that it's kind of silly to think that I can't do this at my house or I can't do this in my office. But I can't. I think maybe some people can, but I cannot. And I need that just quiet time to sit and reflect. And I just have, I set my timer. I don't have any focus times larger than 90 minutes. After those 90 minutes, like, you are not as effective doing those high level tasks. Take my 90 minutes, take a break, come back and do another 90 minutes of something else. So what I do on these executive retreats is really just set myself up for success to do some of those higher level tasks, even just, not even higher level tasks. Sometimes I just need to get my email newsletters done for a quarter, and having an hour and a half, how many can I get done in that hour and a half? And then it's kind of like a game, and I know no one's going to interrupt me, and I can just get all those done. Taking that time for those things that you need a little more focus for, it really does just make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have another video with my business coach, Gwen Bortner, where we talk about quarterly planning because she does a program that I'm a part of called Quarterly Tune-Up. I do sort of seasonal planning sessions with people in my Badass Creatives Marketing Accelerator program. There's so many ways to approach it. I think, like, to your point about, it's really about what works for you. Some people might be able to do it in their own home space. Some people need to get away. Some people need the 4 hours. Some people need 2 days. But like, figuring out what works for you to create the space to think about those big ideas.
Yeah. And it's really, in my business where I've done them by myself, I know there are some people who need to have a group, who need to have that like body doubling, the co-working kind, where there is someone else in the room with them. Because that's another thing. Like, you could take an executive retreat and just sit around the whole time. I'm not going to say I haven't done that.
Yeah, it's called a vacation, right?
Yeah, but then I'm like, oh, well, I just really needed that time to clear my head. I don't want to say that there's no value in just sitting around and thinking, because sometimes, that's what you need too. But yeah, I think it's really important for people to feel like they're worth the time. Like, you're worth the time to work on your business. It's worth it to take those 4 hours, those 12 hours, those 18 hours to do stuff for you and your business, because it really is a gift. It's a gift to yourself. It helps free your mind. It's a gift to your business because you've got this clarity around the things that you're going to do. And yeah, we're all worth it to do that.
Yeah, and like you said, sometimes having that support or, kind of co-working or a coach or some sort of accountability can be so helpful for so many of us. I know I get more done. That's why I have a business coach, because sometimes I just need, especially if you're a solopreneur or a very, very small business, like you're running a business with like 1 or 2 employees or something, it's hard and it can be lonely. And I know that you offer some kind of support and business mentoring in these executive retreats for other people. Can you talk more about that way that you provide that?
I have 4-hour focus sessions that are monthly that I do over Zoom. And that's just a way for people to set aside their 4 hours that they need. We have a little bit of group time where we can all kind of talk about the intentions that we're setting and what we want to get done. And that actually helps really well with accountability, because at the beginning of these 4 hours, you're saying, I want to accomplish this, this, and this. At the end of those 4 hours, when we come back together, we can say, I accomplished this and this, so that is actually really helpful. And plus 4 hours a month is a small amount of time for you to dedicate to your business. And so I teach people how to do those on their own if they would like. And then we have our group ones that help people who want to show up for that specific time and know that that's when they're doing it. Because it can be hard for people to do it on their own. And because it's so easy to be like, oh, I have this 4 hours blocked off, but I could also do this in those 4 hours. I do the 4-hour focus once a month, and you can find those on makittogether.com, the dates and times for that. For executive retreats, I do my own executive retreats for myself. And then I also host executive retreats for other people where I would either come to you. Not everybody likes to come to Lincoln, Nebraska. Although, why not? Because it's amazing. And sometimes, like, if I'm going to another location, if I'm going to be spending a weekend somewhere, I might set up an executive retreat in that location and just say, hey, I'm going to be here. Who's going to come and let's get some work done? The executive retreats are more, I guess, custom than the 4-hour focus, which I have regularly every month.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Christy. And for everyone at home, be sure to head over to makittogether.com to learn more about Christy's executive retreats.